Ashe, and welcome to another special episode of our Mandatory Mental Liberation Message series, written and produced by our esteemed elder Baba Jelani Bomani Dembe, the brilliant founder of Majestic Mind Matters University. I'm your royal narrator, Queen Magical Melanin, for this new episode. The necessity of the Mandatory Mental Liberation series at Majestic Mind Matters University lies in our focus on serving our melanin-rich culture nation. By addressing the importance of knowledge of self to produce greater self-awareness and advocating for our mental liberation, especially for our precious melanin-rich culture children, our messages aim to combat the enduring effects of generational mental enslavement stemming from the historical trauma of the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. Our initiative seeks to empower us to break free from these harmful and unfavorable legacies and cultivate a deep-rooted sense of self-identity and unwavering resilience. In a world where words carry weight, these terms hold a history of oppression and discrimination. Our melanin-rich culture nation has not given up on the fight for liberation. We know that terms like black or brown people, people of color, perpetuate stereotypes and homogenize our melanin-rich culture people. In this message, it will only be used to maintain clarity for those who are not yet up to our melanin-rich culture standards. By embracing indigenous terms like Alkebulan, this name means mother of mankind, in various African languages such as Akuyu, Swahili, and Kemet, referring to ancient Egypt, and rejecting the terms Africa or African, these oppressive terms, which are unknown to many, we are reclaiming our melanin-rich culture narratives and asserting our royal cultural pride. Our melanin-rich culture nation uses terms like chattel enslavement instead of slavery, and the enslavers or slavers rather than masters or slave owners, to highlight the brutal and dehumanizing nature of historical and systemic oppression. The term chattel enslavement emphasizes the objectification of the ancestors as property, rather than acknowledging them as humans. Referring to the oppressors as the enslavers or slavers instead of masters or slave owners shifts the focus to the injustice and violence perpetrated by those in power. These terms accurately reflect the systemic exploitation and inhumanity faced by our melanin-rich culture communities throughout history, challenging traditional narratives that downplay the severity of these atrocities. Knowing the power of language in shaping global societal perceptions and challenging systemic racism is our first step to true liberation. Many of our messages will shed light on our melanin-rich culture civilization individuals who have helped gain more ground towards our global unity. Now, let's get started with this very special melanin-rich culture message titled, Respecting the Ancestors by Rejecting the Oppressors' Christmas. As a melanin-rich culture civilization, it is crucial for us to understand the very dark history behind the holiday of the oppressors' Christmas and its connection to the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. Many of us may not be aware of the fact that Christmas has a dark and painful history for our people, dating back to the time of the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. It is important for us to educate ourselves and our melanin-rich culture community about this dark American history so that we can make informed decisions why we should not celebrate the oppressors' pagan holiday. The holiday of the oppressors' Christmas has its roots in the Christian tradition, which was imposed on the ancestors during the time of chattel enslavement. Our enslaved ancestors were forced to convert to Christianity by means of mental torture and/or horrendous physical abuse, and they celebrate enslavers' Christmas as a way to control and oppress them. This oppressive holiday was used to justify the chattel enslavement of the ancestors and to perpetuate the idea that they were inferior to white people, the enslavers. Knowing this very dark American history is crucial for us, as it helps us to understand the impact that chattel enslavement of the ancestors has had on our people and our royal melanin-rich civilization. Celebrating the oppressors' Christmas is a painful reminder of the atrocities that our ancestors endured during chattel enslavement. It perpetuates the idea that our melanin-rich culture civilization is inferior to the white enslavers' culture, since the oppressors' Christmas is portrayed as the white enslavers' holiday. By not celebrating the oppressors' Christmas, we are reclaiming our agency and affirming the value of our melanin-rich cultural heritage. We are acknowledging our history and showing respect for the struggles of the ancestors who resiliently endured chattel enslavement. Our melanin-rich culture children should not feel left out for not celebrating Christmas, since there is another way for them to connect with our own culture and heritage, called Kwanzaa. By teaching them about the dark history of the oppressors' Christmas and its connection to the chattel enslavement of the ancestors, we are empowering them with knowledge and greater self-awareness. They will learn to value their melanin-rich culture and how to effortlessly resist the oppressive forces that seek to erase it. By educating ourselves and our melanin-rich culture community about the dark history of the oppressors' Christmas, we are taking a stand against the unfavorable legacy of the chattel enslavement of the ancestors and racism that still affects us today. We are proving that we are proud of our melanin-rich culture heritage and that we will not be complicit in the erasure of our glorious melanin-rich history. This self-awareness and strength that comes from knowing our own melanin-rich heritage cultural history is invaluable, and creates a strong space for us to resist the forces of oppression and to celebrate our own culture with pride and dignity. It is crucial for us as melanin-rich people to know that the oppressors' Christmas should not be celebrated in our melanin-rich culture communities due to its connection to the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. By understanding this very dark American history, we are well informed about why we should not celebrate this oppressive holiday and reclaim our agency and pride in our own melanin-rich culture. Our precious melanin-rich culture children should be taught about this dark American history so that they can gain and most of all maintain self-awareness and strength from knowing this important historical information. This knowledge is empowering and mentally liberating, allowing us to effortlessly resist the forces of oppression and celebrate our melanin-rich culture heritage with great pride and unwavering dignity. As melanin-rich people, it is crucial for us to recognize the historical significance of the oppressors' Christmas and its connection to the horrors endured during the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. This oppressive pagan holiday, which we should commercialize through producing and selling, celebrates the birth of the enslavers Jesus Christ, has deeper roots in the colonization and oppression of our melanin-rich people. Our melanin-rich culture civilization doesn't celebrate this oppressive pagan holiday. It goes against our glorious melanin-rich culture history and our identity. It is important for us to educate ourselves and our precious melanin-rich culture children about the true dark origins of the oppressors' Christmas. Many of us may not be aware of the fact that Christmas was used as a tool to erase our cultural practices and beliefs during the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. Our ancestors were forced, mentally tortured, and they endured horrific physical abuse to adopt the traditions of the oppressors, including the celebration of the oppressors' Christmas. By celebrating this oppressive pagan holiday, we are perpetuating the unfavorable legacy of colonization and the oppression that our enslaved ancestors endured. Our melanin-rich culture children should never be made to feel left out by any of us when it comes to not celebrating the oppressors' pagan Christmas, as it is important for them to understand the significance of their own melanin-rich cultural heritage and history. By teaching our melanin-rich culture children about the true dark origins of this oppression pagan holiday, we are empowering them with knowledge and greater self-awareness. They will learn to always question the narratives that have been imposed upon them and embrace their own identity with pride and strength due to parents and guardians who have true knowledge of self. We should commercialize Christmas by participating as producers of our own products instead of consumers, and we should focus on celebrating Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a holiday that was created to honor our melanin-rich cultural heritage and promote unity within our melanin-rich civilization. It emphasizes the values of unity, self-determination, collective work, responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. By choosing to celebrate Kwanzaa instead of their pagan Christmas, we are reclaiming our own cultural identity and honoring the struggles and sacrifices of our ancestors who endured the horrors of chattel enslavement. When it comes to holiday shopping, we always wait for everything to go on discount sales in preparation for Kwanzaa, instead of paying full price during the oppressor's oppressive Christmas holiday. This way, we are not only saving money, but also supporting our melanin-rich owned businesses and promoting economic empowerment within our own civilization. By making conscious choices about where we spend our money, we are contributing to the growth and prosperity of our own melanin-rich civilization. It is crucial for us to recognize the historical significance of the enslavers' Christmas and its connection to the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. We do not celebrate this oppressive pagan holiday since it goes against our culture and identity. Instead, we educate ourselves and our precious melanin-rich culture children about the true dark origins of the oppressors' pagan Christmas and empower them with more knowledge and self-awareness. By celebrating Kwanzaa and supporting our own melanin-rich owned businesses, we are reclaiming our cultural heritage and promoting economic empowerment within our own melanin-rich culture civilization. As we stand together in solidarity and honor the great legacy of the ancestors who endured the horrific horrors of chattel enslavement, we are embracing our true royal identity and values. As melanin-rich culture people, it is crucial for us to understand the true historical significance of holidays such as the oppressors' Christmas and how they are connected to the chattel enslavement of our ancestors. We must recognize the impact that these pagan celebrations have on our melanin-rich culture and why it is important to consider alternative ways of honoring our heritage. For centuries, our ancestors were forced into chattel enslavement, stripped of their culture, and forced to adopt the customs and traditions of the oppressors. The dark origins of the enslavers' Christmas is rooted in the Christian faith, a religion that was used to justify the chattel enslavement of the ancestors and the oppression of our melanin-rich people for centuries. As a royal melanin-rich culture civilization, it is important for us to acknowledge this dark American history and understand how it continues to impact our melanin-rich culture and identity. By not celebrating the enslavers' pagan Christmas, we are reclaiming our melanin-rich cultural heritage and effortlessly rejecting the narratives that have been savagely imposed upon us. This is a powerful act of self-awareness and resistance that helps us strengthen our knowledge of self and connect with our ancestors in the most meaningful way. When it comes to our precious melanin-rich culture children, it is important for us to teach them about the true dark history of all European holidays like the enslavers' pagan Christmas and why we as melanin-rich culture individuals do not celebrate the enslavers' holidays. By doing so, we are instilling in our children a sense of cultural pride and self-awareness that helps them navigate a world that often seeks to erase or diminish our melanin-rich identity. Our precious children should not feel left out nor excluded because they do not participate in mainstream oppressive holiday celebrations. Instead, we should continuously promote them, ourselves to feel empowered and proud of their own melanin-rich cultural heritage. Instead of commercializing the enslavers' pagan holidays like Christmas, through consumerism, we should focus on celebrating our own culture and tradition in ways that celebrate and promote honoring our ancestors and uplift our own community. One way we always do this is by embracing our own holidays, like Kwanzaa, a celebration of our melanin-rich culture and unity. Kwanzaa is a holiday that was created specifically for our melanin-rich people to honor our own heritage, traditions, and our ancestors that endured the horrors of chattel enslavement. By celebrating Kwanzaa, we are reclaiming our own royal culture and identity in a way that is meaningful and empowering. In preparation for Kwanzaa, we buy items that are meaningful and significant to our own culture. Instead of falling into the trap of consumerism and buying presents for celebrating the oppressors' Christmas, we wait for discount sales and purchase items that reflect our own melanin-rich culture values and beliefs. By doing so, we are supporting our own melanin-rich culture businesses and promoting economic empowerment within our own melanin-rich culture civilization. In conclusion, as melanin-rich civilization people, it is crucial for us to understand the true dark historical significance of holidays like the oppressors' Christmas and how they are connected to the horrifying chattel enslavement of the ancestors. By not celebrating Christmas, we are reclaiming our own melanin-rich cultural heritage and honoring the ancestors in a more meaningful way. Our precious melanin-rich culture children should be taught the importance of knowing their own melanin-rich culture history, and we should always encourage to feel empowered and very proud of their own melanin-rich identity. Instead of commercializing the oppressors' holidays, we should focus on celebrating our own melanin-rich culture and tradition in ways that uplift and empower our own melanin-rich civilization. By embracing our own holidays like Kwanzaa and supporting our own melanin-rich civilization businesses, we create a stronger sense of self-awareness and unity within our own royal melanin-rich culture civilization. I'm your royal narrator, Queen Magical Melanin. We trust that this very special message has expanded your understanding through the insights shared by our highly esteemed producer, Elder Baba Jelani Bamani Dembe, founder of Majestic Mind Matters University, in our Mandatory Mental Liberation Series special message. Remember this, it is essential to honor the ancestors. We have a unique connection to the ancestors. They endured many unwarranted struggles, preserved our melanin-rich culture, and passed down invaluable wisdom through many generations. By honoring the ancestors, we pay honorable tribute to our roots and draw great strength and much-needed inspiration from the unwavering resilience and royal legacy that has paved the way for our present and future generations. Ancestral reverence is a powerful way for us to continually uphold our own melanin-rich identity, heritage, and cultural legacy. Here is an ancient Alkebulan proverb to keep in mind. If you think you are too small to make a difference, you have not spent the night with a mosquito. Remember this as well, whenever you are in the presence of anyone, saying, "They don't see color," it actually means, "They don't see you." We acknowledge and honor the indigenous name of our glorious continent as Alkebulan. This name means Mother of Mankind in various African languages such as Akuyu, Swahili, and Kemet, referring to ancient Egypt and rejecting the terms Africa or African. As royal members of our melanin-rich culture nation, we must strive for knowledge of self for greater personal awareness. Always treat yourself kindly and seek to live a totally awesome and gloriously fulfilling melanin-rich culture life. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. So, like, subscribe to stay updated, and share this very special melanin-rich culture link with everyone that you care about and that really cares about you and all of yours as well. And thank you for listening to this enchanting special message titled, Respecting the Ancestors by Rejecting the Oppressors Christmas. Stay woke. Ashe.